Glad we could make it. Perfect. Ready for Frank About Health? We're ready to talk honestly. This is Frank About Health. Let's get real.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Frank About Health. You are watching the return of Jeff Pearson, but at this time it's with his wife Catherine. And it's not like our reunion show, but it is kind of a reunion of sorts because, as I've told everybody, it's because of Jeff and our mutual friends that I have taken Frank About Health to E360, and I am very happy to be here. I have seen positive returns on all the shows that I have done so far. And it's just fitting that I have the two of them here because they both can relate to something I've been living with, and that is both an invisible condition and the life of a caregiver, which can lead to burnout and other kinds of things. But like Jeff, I think doing this show, Frank About Health, has allowed me to mitigate through all that stress and to learn from the experiences, and at the same time to part whatever wisdom that I have learned and earned to all of you out there, especially if you are a caregiver or you're living with an invisible condition or you're looking to create an impact. So fittingly, this episode is called Caregiving Impacts on Invisible Conditions. And if I'm to issue a disclaimer, which I always do, these are the views of Jeff and Catherine Pearson, along with myself, asking the appropriate questions. They are not the views of this station or of our platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Therefore, if you don't agree with what you hear, you have the choice to look for another show. I'm just here to give all of you the chance to get food for thought, and hopefully it can help you in living a better quality of life. That being said, welcome back, Jeff, and welcome, Catherine. I'm so glad to have both of you here. And I guess the first question I would ask is, first of all, how have you been able to get through the last 3.5 or almost 4 years of invisible conditions, both personally and professionally? That's where I'll start with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, for having us. It's a joy to be here. So
Okay.
so the last several years have absolutely been interesting. To give a little background, really it's been the last 12, is that the right number? Last 12 years?
I mean, this invisible condition, I was born with it. It all started at 2 weeks old, but really the impact of it started in August of 2013, and we had 6 surgeries, including 4 brain surgeries between 2013 and 2022. So that is the bulk of where this story will be coming from. So
Okay. I hear you. And so I obviously know that you were born with hydrocephalus and you had surgery in your second week of life, and then you had surgery in your teens, and you had also other kinds of surgeries, as you've just mentioned. I'm realizing the brain surgeries are only more recent, so I gather you must have experienced comorbidities or other things that you really did not anticipate.
So yes, I had the first brain surgery at 2 weeks old, had another one at 6 months old, and had another one at 18 years old. And by the time I was 18, I had had a dozen surgeries, 3 brain surgeries, and then a bunch of other, eye surgeries and abdominal surgeries and all kinds of stuff to compensate for the side effects from the brain surgeries. And so, but to your point, all of those first 18 years of life and all those childhood surgeries didn't have as much of an impact because I was a kid. You're basically made of rubber.
Still developing.
You bounce back so quick. It wasn't until I was 36 when I had that first of 6 recent surgeries, and 36 is a little different than 18. So so side effects are more prevalent with those. So that's where all this kicks in.
Now, would you say that some of those side effects were due to having the brain surgery, or was it due to your condition?
100%. I would probably a mix of both, maybe, but I think if I had if I hadn't had the surgeries, I don't think the side effects would have come. I mean, I think they came hand in hand. The side effects in 2014 didn't really have any in 2018, but with that brain surgery. But 2014, two back-to-back brain surgeries there, and then one in 2021 that were all were very impactful with side effects. So, yeah.
Now, was it the same type of brain surgery, replacement of the shunt,
Yep.
or was it something else that they had to fix or repair from a previous procedure?
Well, so there was the surgery in, say, 2013. That one was actually an abdominal surgery.
That's right.
So, yeah, with hydrocephalus, there's a device in the brain, but then there's a cord that routes fluid down to the abdomen. So there's commonly there's surgeries, not only a brain surgery, but also abdominal surgery. I don't know if it's always at the same time or just sometimes at the same time.
Most of the time, you're replacing everything, so it is usually simultaneously. There's a abdominal surgery going on at the same time there's a brain surgery going on, and so I kind of jokingly say, 7 brain surgeries, 8 other surgeries to counteract the side effects from the brain surgeries. I'm basically held together with scar tissue. Basically, I mean, there's so much. And that's what the cause of the surgery in 2013 was because it was so much stinking scar tissue gathered up in my abdomen from previous surgeries. It started to impact other organs, and it literally pinched off my intestine. And they had to go in there and make a big old just vertical scar and open up and just start pulling out scar tissue because it was impacting, everything. And so that was kind of the start of all those surgeries, was that clearing out that scar tissue. So
did the other surgeons ever tell you that this was something you could anticipate when you got into your elder years?
Oh, I mean, they didn't specifically warn me about it or anything,
Right.
But I mean, I think as we got into this life a little more and kind of, as I got older and learned a little more about what the heck I was dealing with here, because when you're a kid, you don't really think about it, especially when everything goes well, you just kind of carry on as a kid. But when you're in your 30s and 40s, you take note of more details there, and you think, oh man, there's a lot of scar tissue in there. I wonder if that's going to do anything later, So yeah, you're a little more mindful of it when you get a little older. So for sure.
So by any chance, when we went through COVID, did that have an impact on you as well?
I'll
My
let her answer that.
my amateur opinion is I think it did.
Okay.
I think
Did either one of you catch COVID, or it just the environment?
we did.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did have COVID.
I think both of us had it at least a couple times each, probably. But
Yeah, certainly once for sure. There was one distinctive time where we were both pretty sick. And then, yeah, if there were subsequent times, they might have been more mild. But there was one time where I was like, wow, this is, we lost the taste of
Taste and the smell.
Yeah.
which is, I never lost that, but you did. I don't think I ever did.
I did.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
It's come back. Thank you, Lord.
But I hear you.
But yeah, it was. So anyway, so yes, we had COVID, and then it was about a year after that. About a year afterwards. That Jeff ended up in the first in the emergency room. Then he was admitted, and he was there about 7 days. He had extreme stiffness in his neck,
Yes.
and just really
could not turn my head.
severe pain to turn it.
Wow.
Which, I'm obviously I'm not a medical professional, but there are things that I've heard of that I associate with something like that. For example, meningitis, right, which is an infection in the brain, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if he's got this going on, we've got to check and make sure that he doesn't
Make sure
have
that's
meningitis.
yeah.
And
Which you apparently didn't.
No, I
right?
did
Right,
not.
right.
Yeah, that was negative. for
Ruled
sure.
it out. Ruled
Exactly.
that out, but also ruled out almost everything else. And the medical professionals,
Oh,
even
man.
after keeping him in the hospital for the better part of a week, they were like, we don't know what's going on. We can't see anything in the lab work, the blood work, the scans that
I mean,
that would indicate an issue. So the neurosurgeons or the
the
staff
staff,
sent him home with
turbo pain meds.
pain meds.
Mm.
Looked at his casework, his case for the next 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I didn't go back in there for almost a month.
Until his neurosurgeon finally said, the only thing that we can't see or can't figure out what's going on is the tube that goes from the shunt into the brain.
Inside the ventricle in the brain.
And so when they did that surgery, they realized that was almost completely clogged, which had never happened before.
That particular symptom had never been a thing before.
And so, but like I said, it was about a year after COVID.
But to be totally fair, I mean, every surgery has been caused by, it's all led back to replacing the shunt. It's always, every symptom, everything that's led to brain surgery has been very different symptoms leading up to it, but it's all led, every one of them has led to me the same result, which is a revision, which is a fancy word of saying brain surgery to replace everything. So but they use a word that you kind of you didn't say, but it was they said we can't find anything. They did CTs, MRIs, ultrasounds, X-rays. I kind of comically say I rode all the rides multiple times that week, and they couldn't find anything because the piece was inside my brain that they were looking for, that was actually clogged. And so they said, well, we can't find anything. So the neurosurgeon told me we're going to have to do exploratory neurosurgery. So that's the word nobody ever wants to hear.
No.
That basically means they're going to just go poke around in there and see what they can find, And so, nobody wants to hear those two words in the same sentence, but that's what they told me. I'm glad they did, though, because they found the piece that was completely clogged and not allowing any fluid to escape, which
led to your migraines and other things that you were explaining on a previous show.
Well, that was a different thing, but yeah, it was a lot of pain because of that fluid not leaving. So, yeah.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. So this is a perfect segue. Catherine, this must have burnt you out, exhausted you, stressed you, you name it. I mean, why don't you share exactly how you felt throughout all of this? Because just listening to it, I can imagine the kind of panic that both of you, especially you, Jeff, but especially the caregiver that's around there and watching, well, what is unfolding here? What drama that I don't know the end of the script is unfolding so that I can know how to engage?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So to set the backdrop a little bit. So during that time, I had a full-time job. We had 3 young kids. Were young teenagers?
Well, in 2013, when all this started, you're talking about, right?
Well, no, if we talk about, I think he was referencing 2021.
Oh, okay, 2021, yeah. So that was only 5 years
well,
ago.
yeah, because I was talking about COVID, and I figured the Omicron variant had its fun with everybody. But at the same time, it really began in 2013 because that was your first brain surgery as well, right?
Abdominal surgery, but then 6 months later, brain surgery.
Yeah, then 6 months later, 2 back to back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about the whole time frame, from that first emergency abdominal surgery in 2013 all the way up, it was about 10 years of multiple surgeries, multiple, he's after the brain surgeries, he's dealing with migraines, and after there was another surgery, and after that one he was dealing with muscle spasms, and we call it a filter. That's our, I don't know the actual term, but if you think about when you're in a crowded space and your brain naturally blocks out, conversations that are happening around you so that you could focus on the conversation right in front of you.
Like noise cancellation, periphery.
Exactly.
Yeah, it kind of is. It turns into kind of white noise. Most people probably don't even realize their brain is doing it. They don't notice it. But for Jeff during that time frame, it was
Post 2021
his
surgery.
brain couldn't do that.
It was gone.
He was hearing everything.
Wow.
So,
So you heard,
yeah.
you even heard people 100 feet away, let's say, right?
So the way I like to think about it, the way I like to describe it is, instead of everything outside of this conversation being white noise, it was almost like every single person that I could see or be in the vicinity of was plugged into an amplifier with a microphone, and everybody was coming at me at the same volume. I could not block anything out. I heard everything at the same volume. It was brutal.
Oh.
I was working at a K through 12 school at the time. That was crazy. So yeah. So that was the filter being broken was a little impactful. Yeah.
So was it broken surgically, or it was just a side effect of the surgery?
It was just a side effect of the surgery, just like the ticks. The kind of, this is what my side looked like all the time. It was just ticks. Those were two side effects from that surgery in 2021. So yeah, it was crazy.
Just out of curiosity, though, I mean, when you're hearing all of that noise around you, what did you have to do to at least keep your focus? Did you put earplugs in, or I mean, how did you sustain the
eventually?
Normalcy of the moment?
I mean, as I was working at that school, over the last 2 years, I ended up leaving that career. I was there for 12 years, and I ended up leaving that career in October 2020 or September 2023 because I couldn't do it anymore. But because the filter was just, we couldn't figure out how to fix it. And so, but during those 2 years from surgery to when I left that career reluctantly, I just kept cutting back hours because I went back to work after surgery. I didn't realize my filter was broken until I went back to work and had, 200 kids going through the hallway and going,
Oh my God.
I like that scene in What Women Want. Have you ever seen What Women Want with Mel Gibson, Helen Hunt? He gets the ability to hear women's thoughts, right?
Yes, yes.
So there's a scene in there where it's like brand new, and he's walking down the street, and this group of about 100 women that are like jogging together, like run right at him, and he goes right through them, and you can hear every single one of them, and he's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, including whatever critiques they
right,
have.
exactly. And that's kind of how I like it. That's kind of what I compare it to, is when those kids cut out of class and everybody was going through the hallway, and there's 200 kids going through the hell. That's what it was kind of like. It was like I could just hear everything, and it was exhausting. So that career didn't last very long after that. So
when did you finally get the filter? Well, how did you resolve the filter problem? Another surgery or something else? Medicine?
Actually, you want to talk about it, or do you want me to tell them?
So yeah, so I tried a variety of things. And so as an example, when he had migraines for the better part of a year, we found that neurofeedback really made a positive, impactful difference for him, and got rid of the migraines within a few weeks. So when he started having these other issues, we tried neurofeedback again, but it didn't work the same. And so we continued to look for answers. We had one particular appointment with the neurosurgeon. Oh no, wait, that was with the migraines.
That was with the migraines. This was
the neurosurgeon that did his surgery before he was dealing with the migraines. We went back to him, and he was like, "Well, sorry, I guess you're going to have to deal with headaches." And we were like, "No." And so that's when we found neurofeedback. But after when he had the other issues going on, the tics and the filter issue, we tried some of the same stuff, and it didn't work. And so we're like, okay, well, we're going to have to continue to advocate for ourselves, right?
Right.
That's where I, as the caregiver, right, was looking for what else is possible. What else is possible? This can't be the only thing that is a solution. The medical community, God bless them, we tried. We went to an amazing neurologist who worked with us for a while, and he was fantastic, but he still couldn't quite find us the answers. So it just So the medical community, we went there, And if there's anyone listening in the audience who has been to the medical community and not found the answers, the help that they really want and need, keep looking beyond the medical community. There are other options.
Keep advocating, keep looking.
Yes. And so,
and if you need any resources, Frank will have, we have all our information attached to this episode.
Yes.
Reach out to me. I will give you my calendar link and we can have a chat, because I cannot wait to share what has helped me that could help you if you're dealing with some of the same stuff. Options are always good, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if somebody else has some options for you, give it a shot.
Yes.
So to go back to, you were asking about how we got resolved the tics and the filter issue. It turned out it was pressure point therapy along the vagus nerve. So it was essentially the vagus.
It's like an acupressure technique.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was, in a way, it was resetting his nervous system, starting with that vagus nerve, right? The vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in the body, runs from head to toe. And so it was that particular therapy essentially reset that whole vagus nerve, and the associated nervous system, all there. So
it was a 3-day process in Bend, Oregon, of all places. My parents live up there, and they said, Jeff, I think we might have found something. Come up and try it,
Yeah.
And after the first of 3 treatments, I was there for 3 days. That woman worked me over for 3 straight days with pressure point therapy. And when I say pressure point therapy, what I really mean is she dug her elbow into the vagus nerve up and down until every piece of it had been touched. And it hurt, man. It was so painful. But
yeah, those acupressure spots. Yeah, she just went up and down that whole thing.
After the first day, I went back for 2 more days.
Yes.
But after the first day of that treatment, my filter was back and the tics were totally gone. And so
you must have felt nirvana.
Seriously, I was sitting in my parents' house that night watching a movie in their living room, and I muted the TV for a second. I was like, oh my God, this is the most still I have been in 2 years. I was like, glorious.
His nervous system.
Yeah. Between the filter being back and those tics not being, it was literally mentally and physically, I had never been so still. I was like, what in the world? This is what normal feels like, huh? This
exactly.
Is great.
And I gather for you, Catherine, you must have been under such heavy stress that when he was experiencing that nirvana, you must have felt it too. I can imagine. I'm just curious. Can you describe how you went through it with your own nervous system, both watching him go through the pain and the filter issue, and then, of course, once he felt that serenity, you must have felt it too. Vicariously.
Yes. It's true. When we've been married for a long time, and so to watch him go through the challenges and the pain and the the dizziness, the collapsing on the floor, all of those things, it's a major challenge. For me, fortunately, it wasn't a physical burden, but it's absolutely an emotional, mental burden for sure, to say, I want to do something. I want to be able to help. I want to be able to help him to feel better. I wish there was something I could do. And there would just be nothing, it's like, and it wasn't the some of the things he experienced. It wasn't like he needed to go to the emergency room. I know some people listening might be like, well, why didn't you call a doctor right then? And I'm like,
they couldn't have done anything anyway.
It wasn't that type of situation. It was, he needed to de-stress. He needed to release, that he needed the peace, like he described, back into his nervous system. And the emergency room wasn't going to do that.
That might have done the opposite, honestly.
So I absolutely, I feel like, I kind of experienced it along with him, not physically, but definitely emotionally. And
vicariously.
Right. And so when he then, had though, like you just, like he described, that peace in his body. I
Yeah.
wasn't actually on the trip with him, but when he got back, he was different. Yeah. He was like just more calm. And it was, brought me,
Yes.
peace as well to be able to,
Yeah.
have him in that state.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I know, Frank, you didn't specifically ask this question, but I'm curious. How
Okay.
did there's so many things that I'm like, it's like 2013 surgery, okay, whew, all right. Maybe that's the last one. Nope. Back-to-back brain surgery, 3 weeks in the hospital. Okay, whew, maybe that's the last one. Nope.
Roller
2018.
coaster ride.
Right, like over and over. It's like surgery, crazy, stress. Okay, maybe that's normal again. Nope, surgery, crazy, stress. And it's like over and over. That's what I want to know, how you regulated your nervous system properly and figured
Yes.
out how to
Yes.
make yourself sane during all that, because you carried yourself very well. We've known each other since we're 13. So we've met in 7th grade band class. So we've known each other a long time. So I know how she deals with stuff, and
Yes.
so I'm curious how that, how that worked for you.
Good question. Good question. How did I?
Maybe I should play some music. I'm kidding.
I kind of know the answer to it. That's why I'm asking, because it's ooh.
That inner
I
strength
know a
that
little bit of
existed
it,
within you, it kept you balanced. I mean, I have seen, especially in my father's case right now, my mother become dysregulated in so many different ways that the whole thing is disruptive and alarming. I find myself completely sitting still and not wanting to do anything when I observe both of them, quote unquote, falling apart, even though I intellectually know that everything is better than it seems. But you can't communicate that when someone is living in the stress burden and not using the part of their brain that processes facts, because the stress and the hormones, cortisol levels and everything is taken over. And I can only imagine you probably went through, like what he was describing, a roller coaster. You had a resiliency in you that kept you afloat. So are you aware of it? Or maybe that's in his question. He's trying to find out if you even know what it is or what you could call it or describe it to the audience.
You know the answer?
I only I know maybe a little bit of the answer, only because I know you pretty well, a little. But I'm curious to hear your answer, though. And everybody,
I'm just trying to be frank about it. I'm kidding.
That's right. That's right. Let's be frank about it.
Be frank about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a great question, and what I'm not sure what you're thinking of.
All right, you know what?
I'm thinking of.
Let me give you a multiple choice. Let me give you a multiple choice.
What? No. Nope. You go. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking. I want to hear what you're thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was an interesting roller coaster ride for sure. Because there was, just like he described, it was like surgery. And to be frank, when he was really in the thick of it, in the midst of it, like in hospitals, and, I'm having to, juggle around the time that I'm doing my corporate job, along with kids, along with, all the things, trying to keep life somewhat normal for my kids. During that specific time, I'll be honest, I felt numb. I don't feel like I felt much at all.
That was the burnout.
Right.
I have felt numb a lot of times. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I didn't know what to feel because I wasn't sure what I was processing. I'm looking at my husband, who is, from the time that before we got married, I had always known him as, very strong, very fun loving, very vibrant, very, all of the things that I love about him as my husband are now not there because he is in a hospital room. And I don't know how to process this. I didn't, at the time.
If you don't mind my interjecting based on
Yeah.
that, because I have seen this over the last 5, maybe 8 years with my father in particular. And of course, I'm looking at parental figures versus a relationship dynamic, but there's still the same aspect that when when you have a sense of peace within your family system, whatever that is, and all of a sudden you're seeing a disruption. You don't know what the end game is. You hear what the doctors are saying. You have your own knowledge that you can put into it, but there's always the unknown. Like when COVID, that was a big unknown for all of us.
Right.
You know, so that being said, when you're witnessing that and you have that numb reaction, the one thing that I learned after getting out of that reaction and after starting my show 5 years ago is that there is an end game that sometimes you have to create for yourself. Even if it's not something that you can guarantee will happen. So you set an outcome, you like trick your brain. If it is your brain, after all, that's creating the chaos, then why not use it to your advantage? That's my view.
Right.
You know, coming from the point of view of an epileptic patient. So an invisible condition, but knowing that if I have no control over this gray area right here, then let me try to use whatever control I think I can. I create a scenario, and then all of my innate moments, decisions, actions, choices seem to be influenced by that end goal. So I all of a sudden create my own positive outcome. It's not always foolproof, and I have had the opposite happen. But the issue is about 90% of the time, I'd say, I get the outcome I desire. You know, and this is, again, all about the both of you. So I could talk about what recently happened with my father. He was in an emergency room with a focal seizure, but I know what seizures look like. But he doesn't have epilepsy. So I was like, well, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, I'll use ChatGPT. It gave me
There you go.
scenarios. I took all the lab test results, ran them through, all vitals or normal. So, okay, they're going to have no diagnosis, and I'm just going to get to play guessing game. So when I check him out of the hospital against medical advice, because I know what that's like. You don't have a decision, and we're not waiting for him to get a staph infection. So we're taking him home.
Right.
And we're going to go ahead and analyze what the outpatient papers say. And it says acute encephalopathy. That's just a syndrome. That's not an actual disease. That means we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So then I put on my medical hat. Well, I don't have one. I don't have a degree. Again, that's my disclaimer, everybody. I do have a neuropsych degree, but that's it. No MD. All right. That being said, that means encephalopathy affecting the brain. Let's see the neurologist. That's what we did.
Yep.
So I ended up knowing he was okay, even though everybody's thinking the worst has happened. And we managed to get the strategy in place to at least move forward positively. Now, you probably in your numb state couldn't think that way when you were watching. And you were thinking the worst, that where is the fun-loving husband, as if he's gone for good. That fatalistic terminal ending is what we trick our brains to think during stressful moments. And that, unfortunately, is our downside. You know, it's an issue where I guess the advantage of watching repeated brain surgeries, though, is that, okay, I know how I coped with the last one, so let's see how I can cope with the next one. You now have some history to play with. So I guess the lesson learned for the audience out there is that Jeff and Catherine Pearson's situation is a learning experience for all of you to develop a sense of resiliency when dealing with conditions that you cannot explain what's happening, whether they're invisible conditions or actual chronic physical conditions, but use the power of your own mind to come up with a pathway to get out of the stress and at least deal with the real challenges when you need to.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know? And I think you actually innately did that. You just don't know it.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I absolutely was always hopeful of, you know, that we're going to get through this. He's of course going to be fine, you know, despite what I'm seeing in the hospital room. He's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Yes. And so, yeah, in a way, I suppose, you know, kind of brought that about through, you know, that hope that, and for me, for us, you know, we are Jesus followers in our house. And so there is plenty
Yes.
of prayer and looking to, looking to the our divine, our Father in heaven for,
Yes.
guidance, for hope, for encouragement, for miracles.
Yes.
And so that's where a lot of our hope and encouragement came from as well. And then also, like, as so numb maybe through the hospital, but as he got out, then it was like, oh great, he's out, he's better, he's good. But then side effects would kick in, and so we would go back to the medical community, and they'd be like, sorry. And so, to your point, Frank, yeah, it's absolutely, I was holding on to, like, my husband was this way, now he's this way, but I am absolutely certain that if he was this way once, he can get back to being this way somehow, some way. There is healing.
Yes.
There are things that can be done. Because we've seen so many cases where that's been possible.
And spoiler alert, I have never felt better. So we did find something that worked. We did find somebody that could help me long term. And yes, I am fully healthy now. So I am not planning on any more brain surgeries. I'm not planning on any more. I am God's in control. I'm not going to try to but as far as I can tell, in my human knowledge, I will not have to have another brain surgery. I am good. I'm set. So because of some therapies that I have found and some things that I have done over the last year or two, that has really helped with that. So I don't want everybody to think that, oh my gosh, he's got this terrible thing and it's wrecking his life all the time. No. That 12 years was hell on earth at times. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
For both of us, for all of us.
Yes.
At this point, I think we are on the downhill slide out of it and able to actually go back in growth mode. So it's pretty awesome.
So are these new therapies that you're involved in helping to prevent blockage again in the shunt and other kinds of side effects that were going on beforehand that required the surgery?
I think in a way I could say yes, only because of the method in which we're going about it, which we don't have time to get into right now, but we can, if anybody wants to dive into that, I can, I have a co-host that is on that I've had on my show for the last, year and a half now, twice a month for the last year and a half. That was incredibly instrumental and helpful in bringing me to that fully healthy state. And so anybody that wants to know more about that, check out the YouTube channel or email me directly, and I'm happy to point you in the direction of those episodes or that person. So,
actually, that being said, this might be the moment for your commercial break.
Hey, all
ladies and gentlemen, my fellow E360 TV co-host, it's a health and wellness category, but different show, is now about to talk about his very show and the thing that keeps both him and Catherine afloat during all the kinds of crises that I'm sure that they've lived and that they're also trying to educate others on. So take it away.
Appreciate it, Frank. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So yes, Frank is absolutely right. I do host a TV show on E360 TV called Invisible Condition. That's what you're looking for right there, ladies and gentlemen. And so there it is. And so we are on every Tuesday and every Friday for an hour at noon Eastern. And we bring on people that are kicking butt and taking names, rocking it, despite some sort of medical condition that you can't see from the outside. All this stuff we're talking about with me, with hydrocephalus, all the side effects, all the surgeries, all the crazy. If we hadn't talked about it, you would never know any of it. Invisible. You can't see any of it. So that's what we're talking about on my show, is people that are just being awesome, despite some sort of similar other, invisible condition, such as fibromyalgia, traumatic brain injury, schizophrenia, bipolar, lupus, POTS, endometriosis. They're everywhere, people.
Yes.
You probably know 3, 5, 10 people with an invisible condition, whether you know it or not. So that is what our show is about. And we've been on the air since April 4th of 2023, twice a week. And we are getting ready to launch a second show in the next couple of months, God willing, called 6 Degrees of Impact, which is a little more business focused, not health focused, more business focused, of that 6 degrees of separation type concept of I want to have successful business owners, entrepreneurs, movie stars, musicians, influencers type people that could tell that story. You know, what was that contact 20 years ago, maybe, that just that chance encounter that led to that guy and that guy and that guy and that girl over there and that company. And now look at you, you're kicking butt. I want to trace that story and give people hope that maybe that 6 degrees is right around the corner for you, you know? And then the last thing, and then you want to talk about yours too, but the last thing, and then she gets to dive into what she's doing, is everybody that goes on shows wants to do well. Everybody wants to go on podcasts now. Everybody wants to go on TV now and spread the word about what they're doing, right? Like, here's my book, here's my company, here's my program and my course and all this stuff.
Yes.
But very few people do it effectively in a way that it converts and that they get asked back to the show because they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
I've been hosting a pretty successful TV show for the last 3+ years, and I have seen some of the good, the bad, the ugly. And I've created a course called Media Impact Boot Camp, which is a 4-week course that I want to help you. I want to help everybody do better on these shows, which helps me and helps Frank and helps everybody else that has a show too, because then
I was on your show before I came to E360.
Exactly. He was an amazing guest on my show. And so you want to do well. And so that is what that course is designed to do. So, so we'll have a link for that in there as well. And then Catherine is doing something awesome as well. So I gotta stop talking.
Frank, is this the time that you want me to talk about this?
Or we don't have to. It's okay. Sure. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. So you tell me.
It's okay. I mean, we still have a good 15 minutes left. I want to also just get back the background with the nice, colorful.
Where'd it go?
It became the wave background, which is fine. Oh, no. But you know what? I can't find it right now. We'll just stick with this.
Maybe it's a little added publicity for a minute. It's okay.
Yeah. But actually, for everyone, as I wanted to conclude before we hear what Catherine's story is about, Frank About Health ended up on E360 TV because of my appearance on Invisible Condition, as well as an appearance that I made later on with Julianne Meyer, who has her show Seizing Your Impact, which is thanks to Jeff and having an invisible condition myself, I've been able to see the value that his show brings to all of his guests because now I am sharing the same network with him. So thank you for that again, Jeff.
Absolutely. Good to see you here, man. It's awesome. So,
And I guess, Catherine, are you also bringing a new show? Is that the secret that you're about to unveil?
No.
Or what?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, my position is that I love to help people with shows to be able to minimize the manual effort that goes into maintaining a podcast, a TV show, a YouTube channel, whatever it is, to be able to. So I'm more in the background, and I'm okay with that. I like doing the technical background upkeep to automate processes and systems so that they run smoothly and automatically without all of the manual effort. So if there are media show hosts, TV or podcast, that just feel like they're doing a little effort to keep it going, I would love to have a conversation with those people to see if there's an opportunity for me to automate and get you back to enjoying your show and hosting it rather than be stuck doing emails and forms and all the the background. So.
And business owners in general as well. She has helped lots and lots of business owners do the same thing, because once you go out on your own after working for a company, you realize how much that company did for you. She can help you automate all that stuff and make it run smoothly. So
nice.
It's pretty awesome.
And if people know what Go High Level is, I do have expertise with Go High Level. So
good stuff.
Yeah, if anyone knows that platform, they know that it's powerful and yet sometimes hard for the user to use, and I can demystify that. Okay, back to you, Frank.
All right.
No. I mean, this was your comcommercial moment, and I wanted you to enjoy the whole privilege that E360 provides. I mean, I mean, at the same time, I was about to say before we went into the commercial that with all of what you both had to deal with during those 13 years, I mean, I know this happened with me during COVID. You just felt in order to do something, the best thing to do was to develop a podcast. That was my answer to how to combat the misinformation or trying to get the right information to people, including how to cope with what I was dealing with. But in this case, It seems as though that especially when both of you reached that nirvana moment, you just had that fuel now to really advocate. And it's about the same time when you got recovered from the filter problem that you found yourself launching Invisible Condition. Is that correct?
It was April 4th of 2023 was my first broadcast, and September of 2023 is when I left my career. So I had started down this road of TV. I had been introduced to Julianne about 6 months before I launched the show, and she kind of, helped me along and got me started and all that stuff. And then, it worked out. I mean, I got lined up perfect. 6 months before I left that career, I launched the show. So I was kind of off and running with that when I left that. And it was great. So.
Nice. So I guess if anything, Catherine, from what you're offering, what would be one of the best ways where they can either reach you or probably contact Jeff and be on his show and then find out more about it? What are the main channels of communication to get your product to different hosts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So can certainly be reached by email, which is Catherine at Catherine spelled on the screen there. Yes, Catherine with a C. At jcpearsongroup.com. Pearson spelled,
which we can put where the J. We'll make sure that's in the stuff too, so you can. Yeah.
J is for Jeff and C is for Catherine. Yep. jcpearson.com.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. And we're both on LinkedIn. There might be a lot of Catherine Pearsons, but if you search for my face, you should find me. Then Jeff's on there as well, and we'd love to connect with anyone through LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Awesome. And very cool. Then Jeff, let me ask you, how did you meet Dr. Tom Ingenio? Because he sounds like the type of doctor that could take care of your vagus nerve with all of his techniques. I mean, if you needed that help still,
Well, you know what? No, he lives about as far away as in the other direction from me as the person I'm in Colorado Springs. That was Bend, Oregon. Tom's on the other side of the country. So we're not that close together. I'm looking for somebody in Colorado Springs that can help me. It'd be awesome. But Tom and I met because I found him on a platform called matchmaker.fm, which is where I found a ton of guests for my show. I probably talked to 500 or 600 people on that platform over the last 3 years to as potential guests for Invisible Condition. And it's just an awesome platform. That's where I found Tom, reached out to him as just, hey, you want to talk about being a guest on the show? And here's what my show is about. And that's how it started. And then he was on the show in like season 2 or 3 or something really early on. We're in season 7 now. And then we just hit it off. And he's going to be on. I'm recording another show with him in about a week to have another appearance on there.
Nice.
And then you and I, of course, we've talked to him on your show a couple times. I've been on his show. He's awesome. Yes. I love Tom. He's so great.
I'm serious about setting up our reunion show as more of a every 2 months kind of thing, like a recap.
Love it. Bring it. Let's do it. Yeah,
absolutely.
That would be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sure, you'll have plenty to talk about.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God, Tom and I could go. I almost feel bad Tom and I'll get going. And it's like, oh wait, Frank, no, Frank, come on, join us here. Like I feel bad, like Tom and I.
Oh,
just
no,
get
not
going.
at all. I mean, thanks to him, I was able to elevate myself from where I was in October to where I am today. I mean, it was the end of the year 2025 coming, and the previous network that I was part of, talkradio.nyc, which is still a great network to learn how to be a podcaster from the ground up. And the only thing that I would say I miss is doing live shows. But quite frankly, there was a lot of stress in doing those too. But yet, during Christmas time, I was already talking about my documentary that I created with talkradio.nyc. And I was talking to Julianne about bringing that documentary to E360. And when that started happening, we decided, let's bring Frank About Health here first and revamp the documentary to be more present day versus the period of COVID, which it centers around. And, it just became like graduation for me. But the thing is that Tom was able to help me bridge all of the connections. I mean, first person he introduced me to was, Dr. Todd Otten, who worked on a documentary, Suck It Up, Buttercup. Then he introduced me to Matthew Zachary, who we featured on the second episode of my show. Then he introduced me to Jeff, and then he introduced me to Leanne, and then it just became like a family. And so that's why I view our shows, the three of us, reunion shows. I call them the reunion.
Hey, I am always a fan. If we can, I'll come on as often as you will have me. And if you want to bring Tom along for the ride, it's always a party. So
absolutely. I'm just also trying to figure out now. You mentioned about 6 Degrees of Impact. Now, you were planning on launching in May or June, or is it still in the works?
I was originally wanting to launch it in January of 2026, but everything seems to be more expensive and more time consuming than ever anticipated. And that's usually how it goes with businesses.
That's true.
Everything seems to be, so that is, I am still in process there. I have like one thing left that I got to do, and I have to do it. And I know, God, she's giving me the look. I know it's true. I don't have that much left to do. I feel like I'm kind of in that that limbo space of, I feel like I'm in that constant loop of, I'm never going to get this thing launched, but I have to. So, because I have guests lined up and I got to get it launched. So, so it's coming. I promise it's coming. And Invisible Condition will stay on Tuesdays at noon Eastern, and I'm going to put 6 Degrees of Impact. I'm just going to hijack my Friday show and put it on Fridays at noon, because I already have the audience there. So Fridays at noon will become 6 Degrees of Impact. So that's...
Well, if you need any help from me to help you on making that transition, one thing that I've made it clear to Tom, as well as other people that have been on the show, is that I've been working on a business to help people financially with their healthcare expenses that I call MedCash. And that's my business hat that I also wear. But if you're looking for business executives or things like that to actually talk about how I created that company out of the impact that the government has gone through in the past year and a half, that might be a topic that, if it'll help, just let me know. I'll be there.
Maybe. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all know this is not the last time we're going to talk. So we'll definitely be in touch, I'm sure. So yeah, we can definitely talk about that for sure. Awesome.
Well, I can see from the clock we have about 2.5 minutes left. But yet I want to make sure that Jeff and Catherine, we covered everything in terms of the caregiving impacts. Now, impacts really are outcomes, right? Or how do they impact you negatively, or how do they impact you positively? And I guess the takeaways for the audience from what our entire conversation, from the surgeries to the shows to even the introductions that we've had in both our respective circles, is that I would have to say that healthcare itself always creates emotional, psychological, financial impacts, top 3. All right. Of course, there's the medical impact as well, depending on what the condition is. But just like any condition that gets treated by a community of doctors or nurses or specialists or even acupuncturists, let's say, or vagus nerve specialists, like in your case, Jeff.
Right.
The thing is this: the common thread is always about community. Yep. And I think when people think or learn to think that it's not just about what they're going through, but that they can reach out and deal with people with like-minded issues or illnesses or conditions, that they all act as an internal support system when we are also living in a healthcare system that is very fragmented, which is what I always try to really emphasize right here on Frank About Health. Yeah. Because as you know, Jeff, or even as we've been speaking over the past few months, Catherine, I am trying to use Frank About Health to create an impact on the community that all takes action for a secure health system that we own and that we can continue to maintain, even when all looks like that everything is burning down. But if anything, I just want to say that I think we're all doing the right thing for the right purpose based on our own conditions and issues that we've had to face. But I want this episode to be a reflection on that for the viewers out there. And I just hope that as we continue to build more shows, you build 6 Degrees of Impact, as well as I continue on with Frank About Health, that we will all eventually converge, maybe have a dual show together. Who knows? A crossover show, you know? So, ladies and gentlemen.
Anything's possible.
Exactly. And thank you both for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. But now is the time that we have to sign off. Thank you again for watching Jeff and Catherine discuss the impacts on invisible conditions. And I will see you all next week. Take care.